What's up, everybody? This is Sunko, the Korean bro. Today, 2023, August 13, right? Okay, let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Officers suggest think should you buy the deep? Uh, Time to cut and run on this one formerly promising digital health stock. Is Twilio stock about now? The AI revolution could supercharge growth for this excellent dividend stock. A challenging macro environment continues to pressure upstart. A guidance for this third quarter was worse than expected. The long-term opportunity for upstart is still huge. Shares of the consumer loan company plunged on earnings. Here's why it could be a buying opportunity. Stock has been one of the biggest winners on the stock market, jumping more than 300% at one point on extended short squeeze, signs of a macroeconomic rebound, excitement about artificial intelligence. However, the rally came to an abrupt halt on Tuesday after Upstart reported second quarter results. The stock fell nearly 20% after hours as the company beat estimate in the quarter, but offered disappointing guidance for the third quarter. Revenue fell 40% year over year to $135.8 million, but improved sequentially, a sign that the business is recovering from the worst of the macroeconomic slowdown, or the tightening credit market that resulted from the rapid increase in interest rates over the last year and a half. Analysts had expected revenue of $135.3 million. On the bottom line, adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization improved from 5.5 to $11 million. Adjusted earnings per share was zero point zero 0.06, better than the consensus for a loss of $0.07 per share. However, Upstart continued to spend heavily on share-based compensation with $106.7 million in share-based compensation through the first half of the year. Company reported to loss of $28.2 million or $0.34 a share. Despite Upstart improving results on a sequential basis, the company's third quarter guidance showed that the momentum in its recovery was fading. For the third quarter, the company guided to revenue of $140 million and an unadjusted net loss of $2 million. Upstart tracks the macroeconomic environment through a metric called the Upstart Macro Index. In June, the UMI reached 1.68, the highest level since the company began tracking the index 3 years ago. The 1.68 indicates that the macroeconomic environment will cause default rates to be 68% higher than they would be in a normal environment. The rise in the index was a notable change from the trend in the first quarter when the index had come down after peaking in October 2022. Back then, it had seemed that the worst of the macroeconomic headwinds had passed, but that no longer seems true. Investors who follow the consumer lending sector may also note that peers like Leading Club and Leading Tree both reported disappointing second quarter results in late July and indicated that the lending environment was expected to get worse in the third quarter. It's not surprising that Upstart is being impacted by the same headwinds. So, should you buy the deep on Upstart? Like the broader credit sector, you know, Upstart is facing stiff macroeconomic headwinds from rising interest rates and a weak demand from its banking partners. Upstart's delinquencies were up from the first quarter, and the company continues to be cautious about the broader trends, CFO Jen Sanjay data said, in the short term, we remain circumspect about the timing of the recovery of borrower delinquency trends and the recovering health of the funding markets more broadly. However, the long-term opportunity for Upstart still looks promising. The company launched a new home equity line of credit program in Colorado, tapping into the multi-trillion-dollar home lending market for the first time. It also added 12 new states to its auto lending program. Its contribution margin also improved to 67%, up from a 47% a year ago, showing it's taking meaningful steps toward profitability even as revenue is down. The company also remained focused on the long-term opportunity. As CEO Dave Bureau said, the core thesis of Upstart is that super AI-enabled risk models will improve access to credit for all, and the company that can build super risk models faster than anyone else stands to benefit from this dramatic transformation of the lending industry. Upstart data shows its risk scoring continues to outperform the traditional FICO score, which should encourage more banks to adopt its model. While the company's financial results are ugly at the moment, the long term opportunity remains massive. The business is making progress. The stock should continue to be volatile given the risk in the industry, the macroeconomic challenges, and the high shorter interest in the stock. But for the long term investors, the sell off looks like a good buying opportunity. So, according to author, rating is buy because its future is promising, but at this moment, its financial status is at risk. So you should be cautious when you put your money into it. Hmm. Proximity. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Between being in the right place at the right time and executing well on a business opportunity. After a few years of stellar growth during the pandemic, it suddenly looks like Doximity, like so many other pandemic era growth stories, falls in the former category. It's time to shorten the leash and Doximity after a surprise about the face on the financial guidance. Is Twilio stock buy now? Twilio's quarter second earnings exceeded Wall Street's expectations, but its revenue growth is still accelerating in this tough macro environment. Twilio stock looks cheap, but it could stay in the penalty box for a long time. Let's see. Twilio posted its second quarter report on August 8th. The cloud software company still faces near-term headwinds. The cloud-based communication platform provider's revenue rose 10% year over year to $104 billion and beat analyst estimate by $53 million. Its adjusted earnings per share of $0.54 cleared the consensus forecast by $0.24, improved from its adjusted loss of $0.11 a year ago. Hmm. Twilio stock rose slightly after that earnings beat, but it's still down nearly 30% over the past 12 months and remains almost 90% below its all-time high. Is Twilio still worth buying as a turnaround play in this unpredictable market? Hmm. What happened to Twilio? Okay, Twilio's cloud-based platform processes integrate text messages, voice calls, verification tools, and other communication features for mobile apps. Instead of building those features from scratch, which can be time consuming, buggy, and difficult to scale as an app gains more users, Companies like Airbnb and Lyft outsource them to Twilio with just a few lines of code. So if you've ever used Airbnb's app to contact a host or Lyft's app to message your driver, you have access to Twilio's behind the scenes platform. Twilio charges user based fees whenever its platform is accessed. Twilio's early mover advantage in this industry enabled it to grow like a weed after its public debut in 2016. Between 2016 and 2020, its annual revenue grew at a compound annual growth rate of 59%, from a $277 million to $1.76 billion. Some of that growth was driven by acquisitions, but during its investor day in October 2020, Twitter declared it could grow its organic revenue by at least 30% through 2024. That ambitious long-term outlook attracted a stampede of bulls, and Twitter stock skyrocketed to record high of $443.49 on Feb 18, 2021. But Twitter sat the bar too high. Its stock collapsed once it became clear they would broadly miss its lofty targets. Another quarter of decelerating growth. Twilio's revenue rose 61% in 2021, but grew just 35% in 2022. This slowdown worsened over the past year as its revenue growth cooled off. It gained a fewer active customers and its dollar-based net expansion rate contracted. It blamed that deceleration on the macro headwinds, which drove many companies to rein in their software spending and development of new apps. Total expansion slowed down to persist with 0 to 1% revenue growth in the third quarter. Or on an organic basis, which excludes the divestment of its Internet of Things unit in June and 31st division in July, expect its revenue to rise 3 to 4% for the full year. Analysts expect Twilio's revenue to only rise 6% to $4.1 billion. But during the conference call, CEO Jeff Lawson said he was optimistic that Twitter's bookings will improve toward the end of the year and that revenue growth will reaccelerate during 2024. Analysts also expect its revenue to grow 12% in 2024. But its operating margins are still expanding. As Twilio's revenue growth cooled off, the integration of its acquisitions, tougher competition, uh, and higher carrier fees all reduced its adjusted gross margin from a 56% in 2020 to 51% in 2022. But over the past year, its adjusted gross margin stabilized and its adjusted operating margins turned positive again after it laid off thousands of employees and executed other cost cutting strategies. Twilio expects its adjusted operating margin to continue expanding in the second half of the year. It raised its full year adjusted operating income forecast from a $275 to $300 million to $350 to $400 million. Hmm. Not only is General Motors pouring billions into its future EV lineup, as well as developing its ultimate EV platform that will help reduce costs, improve profitability, but it's really funding that's true its traditional business. On top of that, GM is expanding to more potentially lucrative businesses such as cruise. It's also developing Bright Drop, which is focused on helping business meet consumer demand for last mile services. It has already partnered with such being named as Walmart, FedEx, Hertz, and Ryder, among others. Bright Drop is targeting $5 billion in revenue by mid decade and up to $10 billion by the end of the decade. For the most part, tracking Warren Buffett's trading activity is easy. Institutional investors and money managers with over $100 million in assets under management are required to file Form 13F with the Securities and Exchange Commission no later than 45 days following the end of a quarter. A 13F provides a snapshot of what Wall Street's brightest minds bought and sold in the most recent quarter. Though we'll be getting a closer look at Berkshire's second quarter 13F on Monday, August 14. Previous feelings from the Oracle of Omaha shows that he and his investment team have been piling into a handful of stocks. The ongoing war in Ukraine, along with more than 3 years of capital underinvestment by energy majors tied to COVID-19 uncertainties, has created a tight supply market for oil. They may keep the West Texas intermediate crude price above historic norms. Celsius Holdings Capital Group, SoFi Technologies. Let's see. The shift to digital banking is another powerful trend that's creating enormous profit opportunities for investors. Online personal finance upstart SoFi Technologies is benefiting from the shift, and it's poised to claim a far larger share of the massive banking industry. SoFi's high interest checking and savings account with their annual percentage yields of 4.5% and up to $2 million in FDIC insurance are attracting swarms of new customers. SoFi gained more than 584,000 new members in the second quarter alone, and ended the quarter with over 6.2 million total members. That's up 44% compared to the prior year period. The strong customer gains drove a 26% increase in SoFi's deposit base to $12.7 billion. These deposits are reducing SoFi's funding cost for its fast-growing loan book and boosting its profit margins. The company's quarter second adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization surged 278% year over year to $77 million. With popular online bank accounts, swelling deposit base, and rapidly improving profitability, SoFi is set to climb a sizable portion of the multi-trillion-dollar financial services market. Consider buying shares today to position yourself to profit alongside that digital banking litter. Visa, CrowdStrike Holdings. But let's read this one. CrowdStrike Holdings. Second, a forgettable growth stock you'll regret not scooping up following the Nasdaq bear market swoon is cybersecurity company CrowdStrike Holdings. Although CrowdStrike's valuation has been a tough pill for some investors to swallow, the company also possesses the competitive advantages needed to grow its market share, produce vastly superior margins and earnings growth relative to its peers. Falcon is what makes CrowdStrike tick. It's the company's cloud-native, artificial intelligence-driven cybersecurity platform that oversees trillions of events each week. The incorporation of machine learning allows Falcon to effectively grow smarter. Its task of protecting end users over time. Even though Falcon is far from the cheapest cybersecurity solutions available, CrowdStrike's retention rate has consistently hovered around 98%. Is add-on sales. A growing subscriber count from a 450 to north of a 23,000 in 6 years is great, but seeing the percentage of its clients utilizing five or more cloud module subscriptions increase to 62% in the most recent quarter from a single-digit percentage 6 years ago is what is powering its adjusted subscription operating margin higher. If you need another reason to buy into the CrowdStrike's growth story, consider that cybersecurity solutions are a practical necessity. With businesses moving their data online and to the cloud at a breakneck pace following the pandemic, there is a need for data protection in any economic environment. With CrowdStrike expected to more than triple its earnings per share between fiscal 2023 and fiscal 2027, shares are actually much cheaper than investors may realize. The fourth unforgettable growth stock we're not buying the wake of the Nasdaq bear market DB's Block, the fintech company previously known as Square. While a crypto winter has cooled off interest in Block's Bitcoin exchange, other facets of the company's business look to be firing on all cylinders. Block's foundation continues to be its oldest operating segment, the Square ecosystem. This is a segment that provides point of sale solutions, data analytics, and financial solutions to help merchants grow their business. The $54.2 billion in gross payment volume registered in the June and the quarter extrapolates out to nearly $270 million in annual GPV. It's a far cry from the $6.5 billion in GPV reported in 2012 and demonstrates just how powerful of a growth story digital payments can be. What's noteworthy about the Square ecosystem GPV is that it's increasingly coming from larger businesses. The second quarter saw sellers with at least $500,000 in annualized GPV account for 40% of total GPV. That's up 5 percentage points from the comparable period 2 years ago. Larger sellers should lead to more transactions, which is ideal for a fee-based operating segment like the Square ecosystem. However, Block's future is very much dependent on growth in Cash App. In the past 5.5 years, Cash's app monthly active user account has catapulted from around 7 million to 54 million. As of June 2023, since the cost to acquire new Cash App users is dwarfed by the gross profit generated from each active Cash App user, it's no surprise that Cash App is already producing more gross profit than the Square ecosystem. Company has also branched into alcoholic beverage in a bid to boost growth. Its portfolio currently includes craft beers, hard seltzers, and flavored malt beverages, but management teased a robust innovation pipeline during the latest earnings call. Two qualities separate Monster from the most peers: brand authority and distribution reach. Specifically, strategic marketing and rapid innovation keep Monster products top of mind among consumers, and the company has an exclusive partnership with Coca-Cola that gives Monster access to the world's largest beverage distribution system. So, what brand authority and broad distribution capabilities have made Monster the market leader in energy drink sales in the US, the company also holds a top spot in several international geographics, including large parts of Latin America and Asia. That has consistently translated into strong financial results, and quarter second was no exception. Revenue increased 12.2 $1.8 billion. Gross margin expanded 530 basis points to 52.5%. And generally accepted accounting principle, net income soared 50% to $0.39 per diluted share. Looking ahead, Monster has a big opportunity in alcoholic products. The company launched its first flavored malt beverage earlier this year, and sales in the alcoholic brand segment soared 88% quarter second. But Monster has growth opportunity in its energy drink business too. The company plans to expand into dozens of new geographies in the near term. Its recent acquisition of Bang Energy will add a few percentage points to its U.S. energy drink market share, maybe more once Bang transitions to Coca-Cola's distribution network. And that no shares currently trade at 9.1 times sales, roughly even with the 3-year average of 9.2 times sales. That is a reasonable price to pay for this growth stock, given that Monster increased sales by 16% annually over the last 3 years. Anyway, okay, this is it for today, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Okay, bye bye, everybody.